This chip rail management system that I'm about to show you is very similar to what John over at ProCraps uses. To find out how it differs, please stay tuned. Hey, my name is Joe and this is my Craps Master journey. Let's make it yours too. The chip rail management system that I'm bringing to you today is brought to us by Colorup. In fact, Jeremy at Colorup. He rolled the original strategy out in September of 2020 and he has over 14,000 views to date. I'll leave a link to the original video that he presented in the description of my video down below. Hey, if you're liking the videos that I'm rolling out, please watch this entire video and give me a thumbs up at the end of the video because every little bit of support does help. Let's go through how Jeremy actually separates out his rack. So he'll do his bankroll. He does things in quadrants similar to what the ProCraps method does. And his bankroll will go up in this top left quadrant. The dollars that he allocates for each shooter will go in the top right quadrant, quadrant number 2. Quadrant number 3 is where he puts all of his profits or leftovers from the shooter. And quadrant 4 is where he puts his locked up dollars or the money that's going to go home with him. So what he does, and these are kind of the rules for his strategy, is that he separates the bankroll. So we'll go 3 shooters now. We have $44 for each shooter. And notice that I have all the quarters towards the inside here. The singles are on the outside so that we can help minimize theft and stuff like that. So he'll put his bankroll up on his top left quadrant, quadrant number 1. Quadrant number 2 is going to be his shooter. So when the shooter comes up, he's just going to pull this off to the side. And by the way, I'm using clear plastic laminates or lammers in between my chips here. I bought these off of Amazon. There came in a sleeve of 50 for 14 bucks. Took a day or 2 to get here. I think it would be a good investment for you if you want to do that. But anyhow, he has his shooter. So when the shooter comes up, we can just take the money, give it to the dealer. Here's my 44 inside and do whatever. So let's say for that shooter, he comes back and he wins $60. This is what we're going to do is we're going to put our profits, our leftovers for our shooters. And with Jeremy's method now is he only goes through the bankroll 1 time. And then after every shooter is done, he will come back and he'll put it back into quadrant 3. So let's go get ready for shooter number 2. He'll put that up there. He'll pass this off to the dealer. Let's say this time he only won $10. So he's going to take that $10. He's going to put it back into this rack. We'll go shooter number 3. We'll give it to the shooter again. And this time he does really good. And he wins $125. So we'll put that back into our rack back here also. So what happens now, and again, we're going to keep these on the inside the rack, the quarters, we'll put the smaller denominations on the outside. So what happens now is after he went through all of his shooters, he's going to count up his money and see where he's at. So we have $175, $85, $95, $195 there. And let's say he wants to lock up all the greens, so you put that over there. That's money that we're locking up now. That's our profit. We're not going to be touching this stuff. That stuff's going to go in our pocket when we go home. And then he has $20 here to play with. I know he can't play much for $20, but for illustration purposes, that's what he does. So now what he'll do is he'll go through and he will, that's his bankroll, and he'll separate this out again. Let's say we have 4 shooters of $5. That's shooter number 1. He goes out there. Let's say they win $10. He'll put that back here at the end of that shot. Let's say the next shooter is for another $5. That one, we didn't win anything. Your next shooter of $5 comes out. Let's say we won $25 off of that. So we'll put that back in the profits after that shooter is done. Okay, and then the last shooter of $5 comes back and he wins $4. Okay, we put that in our rack. And again, what he'll do is after all of our bankroll is used up, he will pull out whatever, let's say another green chip. The rest of this is brought up to our bankroll again and just repeats the process. please take the time to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and hit that bell notification button so that way you're notified every time a video of mine comes out. So we're going to be talking about the pros and cons here to kind of wrap up the video. The first pro, or the first thing in favor for the Colorup method, is that it allows you to look up how much money you have in your chip rail to help decrease the chance of leakage. Now, that's important because leakage is where you overspend and money kind of disappears at random and you don't know where it really goes. This system will help you prevent that leakage from happening. Number two, each shooter is separate, so that way you have no way of overspending. In other words, we have a set amount of money put aside, or set amount of chips put aside for each shooter. And when that shooter's turn is up, you move it to the different quadrant in the rack, and that way, you know, that's all the money that you have left. And then number three, pro or favorite for this strategy, is that it's easy to use at the table and it takes very little time to actually incorporate it into your chip rack rail management system. And the only real con that I can really find with this is that it really does not help track your stop loss. So in other words, you run through your chip, your bankroll one complete time, and then you're done. And then you can kind of reevaluate and see where you're at and all that stuff. But as you're running through, it doesn't really allow you to stop when you hit your stop loss, because you really kind of don't know where it's at unless for some reason you put some kind of marker in or whatever. Hey, if you're liking these strategies and you want to learn more about why it's important to track your chips, or to have a chip rail management program or method put into place, then click on that link on the right side here, and that'll bring you to my information video on chip rail management. Hey, my name is Joe, and this is my Craftsmaster journey. Let's make it yours too.